This is NTV Tonight, the headlines.
Tonight, maize millers said unga prices would stay put, but now the state has put its foot down.
The position of the government is that a 2 kg unga packet should not retail at more than Kenya shillings 75.
Also tonight, fighting while grieving.
When he gets a judgment and the court sits on the application, then he may make a formal application for recusal, giving reasons which we will respond to.
11 more nights in police cells for Michael Oyamo, who denied murdering Sharon Otieno.
Also ahead, expressions of heartbreak by a father in mourning and the suspected killer in the dock.
We must balance the rights, both of the victim as well as the accused person or the suspect.
Joseph Irungu locked up for another 10 days despite bullet wound.
Plus, the darkness fades in, the street lights stand guard, and it's prep time. Lighting paths where hopes have been dim, an enlightening Turkana story.
NTV Tonight with Dennis Okari and Olive Burrows.
Very good evening, and our sign language presenter tonight is Flora Atieno. Remember, you can catch us live, that is www.ntv.co.ke/live.
Migori Governor Koth Obado's personal assistant Michael Oyamo has denied murdering Sharon Otieno when he took plea at the Milimani Law Courts.
Oyamo has been remanded until October 8th when he will appear in court for his bail application hearing, while his boss is scheduled to attend his bail application ruling on Thursday at the same court. NTV Sethulale with the latest on justice for Sharon.
Oyamo pleaded not guilty to the offense of murder when he appeared before High Court Judge J.C. Lesit at the Milimani Law Courts. The prosecution, led by Assistant DPP Jacob Ondari, accused Oyamo of luring the late Sharon Otieno from her parents' home in Bungoma County to Rongo, from where the deceased and nation journalist Barack Oduor were handed over to killers. The prosecution added that Oyamo made a false report at Uriri police station that he had been kidnapped during the period the late Rongo University student was slain. According to the investigating officer, the accused lied that he was kidnapped and that he found himself at the Kisi Level 5 hospital receiving treatment. However, investigations revealed that Oyamo was never a patient at the said facility as claimed by the accused. Obado's PA, who was among the first suspects to be arrested, then applied to be freed on bond. However, the prosecution wants him denied bond pending trial on grounds that his character and conduct confirms that he is a person who cannot be trusted.
Matters of recusal, we are not yet on that issue yet. When he gets a judgment and the court sits on the application, then he may make a formal application for recusal, giving reasons which we will respond to. Not at this stage when he is applying for adjournment. How do you apply for adjournment? How does he know that your lady will be hearing the application?
The circumstances, without assuming anything, the prosecution should give us an indication when they will avail the committal bundles so as to enable the court to schedule the other steps in the case.
The bail hearing was adjourned to 8th October by Justice Lesit. As Michael Oyamo is detained for 11 more days, his boss and the Migori Governor, Koth Obado, will know his fate regarding his bail or bond application before Justice J.C. Lesit when he appears in court here at the Milimani Law Courts tomorrow. Seth Olale, NTV, Nairobi.
Joseph Irungu, a key suspect in the murder of Monica Kimani, will remain in police custody for 10 days to allow detectives to complete investigations. Senior Principal Magistrate Stella Atambo ordered that he be detained at the Muthaiga police station and get medical attention as needed. In her ruling this evening, Atambo also asked the prosecution to facilitate family visits and medicine that the suspect will need. Irungu was arrested on Tuesday in Langata area days after he recorded a statement with the police claiming he had been shot by unknown assailants, but police say they have compelling evidence to tie him to Monica's murder.
24 hours after his arrest, Joseph Ferungu alias Joey was presented in court facing charges of murder of a young woman who was found dead in her bathtub Friday morning at her home in Kimani. Irungu's defense team had requested the court to grant him 4 days for medical purposes. He argued that a bullet lodged in his chest needed to be removed as it posed a danger to his health.
We must balance the rights, both of the victim as well as the accused person or the suspect.
The court, having considered his request to be heard, listened to arguments from both parties Wednesday afternoon before making its decision.
I am satisfied that the reasons advanced by the prosecution for such detention are compelling.
The prosecution had requested that the suspect be remanded for 14 days as it concluded investigations, saying it was chasing leads all the way to South Sudan where Monica lived and did business.
And we are certain that we need 14 days. Possibly we might actually need more.
They also requested for more time to revisit the crime scene in search of clues that would connect the suspect and the victim.
The suspect be remanded at Mudaiga police station during the period of detention mentioned on the 9th of October 2018.
But as Irungu had his day in court, on Facebook the family of the deceased expressed their anger over the loss of the family's only daughter. Her father, Paul Ngarama, through his Facebook page sought divine intervention, asking God to punish those who killed his daughter. In a telephone interview with NTV, Ngarama stated that the family will hold a requiem mass Thursday in Thika to remember their child whose loss they say will hurt them for some time to come. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
Authorities now say the violence in Olpusimuru was well planned and funded, as 9 people were arrested in connection with the renewed clashes there.
And as Bridget Ngana reports, police are now looking for the masterminds of the chaos, said to be influential people keen to stop the second phase of the Mao evictions.
The 9 suspects were caught in transit from the conflict's latest flashpoint. They were said to be in possession of more than 100 arrows. This morning, they were brought before the Narok County Commissioner George Natembea before they were taken to court to face charges of arson and robbery with violence.
We have sufficient numbers on the ground, and that's why we've been able to restore normalcy. And we want to believe that going forward, we're not going to have similar issues arising in this area.
Now, the county security chief says they are pursuing those who have fueled and funded the chaos.
Justice has not been done to those people whose property have been destroyed and maybe whose loved ones have been killed. So we want to get people and hold them responsible for this kind of behaviors, because we want to put an end to this culture of impunity, where people would meet, plan these activities, cause havoc, and then like nothing happens.
At the same time, Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i has ordered more boots on the ground in Neswit and Olposimoru, as he warned of tougher measures against politicians and other influential persons behind the flare-up of violence.
Sisi si wajinga sana, eti mtu atuambie wale watu ambao wanatembea hapa na bodaboda na proboxes, we poisoned arrows, they have woken up from their houses and found the arrows in their kitchens and they're moving around with them. Sisi si wajinga sana. This thing is being supported by some people, and the law will face them regardless of their status in this society.
Since the Olpusimuru skirmishes erupted, 1 person has died, 50 houses torched, and more than 40 head of cattle stolen. While a dusk to dawn curfew remains in effect here in Olpusimuru for the next 2 weeks, a sense of calm expansively is here. You can see that this shopping center for the last 4 days was a no-go zone, and in fact, no business was going on here. But today, people are back to work, and it is, in a sense, very, very calm. Bridget Ngana, NTV, Narok County.
There was trouble at the Kisumu County Assembly this afternoon after MCAs clashed over a motion to impeach the Speaker Onyango Law. 2 rival camps engaged each other in heated exchanges that degenerated into physical confrontations, forcing Assembly orderlies to intervene. Oko Kusa with the details of the drama.
Market Milimani Ward Representative Seth Kanga going for the neck of a nominated member of the Assembly, Caleb Omoro. the mover of the motion. The MCS accused the Speaker of stage managing his ouster by sneaking in the order paper through Omoro at a time when they were preparing to replace 2 members of the County Assembly Service Board. The angry MCS said that the impeachment motion was a ploy by the Speaker to prolong his stay in office for a further 6 months, since it was to be tabled at a time the members were ill-prepared. Just recently, Kisumu Governor Professor Anyang' Nyong'o was forced to step in to rescue the Speaker Onyango Olo from impeachment, saying it could ruin county unity. It's unconstitutional. What you are doing is contrary to Nyong'o had termed the impeachment motion tabled by Market Milimani MCA Seth Kanga ill-intended and meant to cause divisions in the county. A section of members of the county assembly have been pushing for the ouster of Olo, accusing him of mismanaging the assembly.
The main reason is fearing because of the corruption of this assembly. There are things that are being done illegally in this assembly. Don't stage manage an impeachment. If you want to impeach the Speaker, we will do it. And we cannot come here and purport that you want to remove the Speaker when the right procedure has not been laid down. It's very clear on what should be done.
Kanga has also accused Olo of frustrating MCS and making key decisions without consulting them. The Speaker has, however, dismissed these claims as baseless.
It's been a season of assemblies of drama across the country. Let's move on now. Learners from a little-known village called Okari in Kakuma, Turkana County, have devised ways to keep up with their studies after the sun sets. NTV's education reporter Sharon Baranga caught up with them and shares their story.
The small village known as Towakayeni in Kakuma, Turkana County, is unusually quiet at the fall of dusk, save for the sound of supplicants in a nearby church and in an overnight prayer service. Some of the villagers have already retired to their beds. A few are still making their way home, but huddled together under the scanty streetlight is a group of learners. They always gather here from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. to finish their schoolwork and catch up with their studies after the sun sets.
Well, tukashirikiana hapa. Kizoma tunasaidiana maswali. Kizoma unaanza kuniongeza nini marks yako.
These are learners between class 7 to class 8 and from different schools.
Naona masomo ni kitu ya maana.
Mtihani uliopita uliperformaje?
Niliperform vizuri. Sasa ndio nilipata alama 364.
The occasional buzzing of motorcycles and a few vehicles is often a temporary distraction for some, but they soon get back to what brought them here. The scant light offers them a slim ray of hope in their ardent attempts to pursue an education.
Nikimaliza shule na nikipata kazi nitaka light ikuwe hapo kwetu. Ila stima ama generator ulete nyumbani ndio wengine waanza kusoma. Nikimaliza masomo ningependa nisaidie wazazi wangu juu mimi kwetu sisi kwetu ni watano. Nikimaliza kusoma ningependa kufanya kazi ya county.
The pitch darkness and bushes along the lonely path makes me wonder about the security of these learners, but they have their parents and guardians' blessings.
Wazazi wangu hawana shida, walituambia mwende msome na mwalize homa kila kitu. Sasa zingine iko ile maandiko yameandika huko, ingine imeenda chini, ingine au kamata akili yake. Sasa akikuja hapo umati ya watoto, ile alikuwa anasahau anakamata hapa. Kama iko chakula nyumbani kama ana nakuja tu basi kubonga na wale wengine hadithi hapa na kuandika na walisia hivyo.
I learned from the locals that the name of this village, Towakayeni, loosely translates to simama na kujua in Kiswahili.
Sababu msaada yote ikikuja Anaelezea tu msimame na kujua, lakini hatupatia, hakuna kitu kusaidia anatupata hapa.
Watoto ameanza kuperform vizuri. Ningependa nyinyi watu wa nation tusaidie sisi wazazi, tuwekie light ndani ya nyumba, ndipo watoto wapate kukaa kwa kiti, awekea vitabu yao kwa meza, asome kuliko kuketi hapa nje kukalia kwa mawe. Maana hii mawe anafinya watoto wapi? Matako. Pia anaweza kukosa hata mastarehe ya kukaa vizuri ya kusoma.
Sharon Baranga, NTV, in Okari, Turkana County.
22 people were injured during a raid by KDF soldiers and ATPU security officials who brutally raided Daba City in Elwak sub-county. They are reported to have raided the village yesterday after the vehicle they were traveling in ran over an IED which was planted on the road. Soldiers moved into the village after the incident, reportedly beating up the men and torching property worth millions.
Tension brews in Elwak after many were injured and sought treatment at Elwak Level 4 Hospital in Mandera South Sub-County. Mandera Governor Ali Roba says the soldiers went on a rampage after surrounding the village midday yesterday.
The same military that's supposed to guard the public goes and beats them.
Roba condemned the incident, saying it may cause mistrust and insecurity in the area.
These incidences is going to recreate a situation of distrust between the public and security, which will mean a situation where the public will not be speaking about dangers of Al-Shabaab movement, which will mean takeover of this region by Al-Shabaab.
The residents now fear a military operation in the area and many residents have fled their homes. The incident happened just 2 weeks after the bodies of 3 herders were found in Elram village near Elwak town. Attempts to get a response from the KDF communication team proved futile. Helen Aura, NTV.
A luxurious 5-bedroom apartment in Lavington, Nairobi is the first item repossessed as reclaimed assets under the Asset and Recovery Agency. Businessman Mukuri Angamau, who owned the house, bought it using stolen funds from the Youth Enterprise Development Fund. NTV's Mel Miendo reveals details of the recovered house in Nairobi's leafy suburbs.
55 million shillings cash prize is the current worth of the 5-bedroom duplex apartment in Lavington's Duchess Park. 57 million if paying through installments and 60.5 million if using a mortgage plan. 48.5 million is the amount businessman Mukuri Angamau purchased apartment number D16 on an off-plan agreement from the developer Sigimo Enterprises.
What we're trying to do is get value from the money we have. Keeping it in an account where we'll get 3% doesn't help us at all. And I don't think it's a clever business decision. If you have 10 shillings in your pocket, you look for the best investment you can make until when you need that money to come through. Right now, as you all know, property is doing well, and that's why I invested in property.
This money was laundered from the Youth Development Enterprise Fund, where Mukuria's company, Quarandam Limited, was paid 180 million for ICT services which were not delivered. The apartment price forms a third of the total stolen loot. Of the 70 units in Duchess Park, the 5-bedroom apartments are 8, with each having a detached servants' quarter. These units are considered the attraction and selling point for the development, 2 in each of the 4 blocks. The luxury apartment features a large terrace, a king-size master bedroom, a queen-size master bedroom, a private gym, a bar, 2 lounges, a private steam room and sauna. On 22nd September 2018, the Assets and Recovery Agency claimed the apartment as part of recovering the 180 million lost. The agency has been on Mukuri Angamau's trail from 2016 in an effort to ensure the house is reclaimed and does not change hands. The Duchess Park apartments are still under construction and will be completed in December 2018. The 5-bedroom duplex apartment in Duchess Park is perhaps one of many luxury homes that have been purchased through crime proceeds. At the moment, the Asset and Recovery Agency is awaiting vesting orders, after which they will get the title of that specific house and then dispose it for the good use of the public. Mel Miendo reporting for NTV in Lavington, Nairobi.
Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua and his arch-rival Wavinya Ndeti have started another round of a legal battle at the Supreme Court over who won the 2017 Machakos gubernatorial elections. Mutua filed the petition at the Supreme Court, faulting the Court of Appeal for nullifying his election on a technicality.
Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua now has his hopes pegged on the verdict of the 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court. He hopes the Apex Court will overturn the Court of Appeal verdict that nullified his election in June this year. Mutua has been trying to ward off a challenge from the Machakos County seat from arch-rival Wavinya Ndeti, who had challenged his election at the High Court and failed, but later filed a successful appeal. Wavinya insists the election results as declared failed the constitutional test of verifiability.
But that declaration in our humble submission was a fake declaration. And there was no way that declaration could be verified.
She had an opportunity to verify. She decided to abandon that route.
Mutua argues the procedural technicalities, including deviation from the prescribed election forms, did not have a significant effect on the final outcome. Wavinya is questioning why Excel sheets were used to capture results and the decision by the returning officer to declare the final results, despite results from 145 polling stations missing.
Deviation from a form that is prescribed is wholly permitted.
You will find that 86 polling stations result are missing. That gives you a total of 145 polling stations which the result were missing when the returning officer declared the result.
In the August 8th general elections, IEBC declared Alfred Mutua the winner with more than 249,000 votes, with his arch-rival Wavinya Ndeti coming second with more than 209,000 votes. The respondents insist the move by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC to engage some of employees from the county as their staff compromised the electoral process, a move denied by the petitioners.
Where a party to the election infiltrated the election process and embedded, my lord, 160 to 300 employees of the county government.
For now, the residents of Machakos will have to wait for the Supreme Court ruling that will determine whether they return to the ballot for a by-election. Vincent Odur, NTV.
We take a short break now, but when we come back,
find out the question of how girls are taking control of their reproductive health. Stay with us.
Thank you for staying with NTV tonight. The question of girls taking control of their reproductive health is steadily gaining currency as one way of breaking down the gender equality barriers. More youth, especially girls, are now talking about the choices available to them. And as the world takes stock of the developments in fulfilling the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, NTV's Brenda Wanga examines the place of reproductive and sexual health for young people.
Monday afternoon and this group of young people have gathered here. This is how they unwind after their day's activities. But it is not all fun and games for these young ones. They use this time and space to address an important issue that affects them, particularly girls, the issue of being in control of their reproductive health.
I knew about family planning is when I was in high school at Form 1. Huko ndo nilikuwa at least exposed to this education.
For them, information regarding this important issue has for a long time been taboo, especially in their homes.
Maybe, but a little bit. Haizi sema, haizi ni exposed to all those things kwa sababu atajua, ataona ni kama anajua mingi.
What I think is that parents need to be open enough to talk with their parents, to talk with their children on issues touching on sex, because that is the primary bit. If you talk with your children about sex and sexuality, then you will have given them the foundation to make informed choices before any other person does so.
The scenario is, however, changing, and not just here in Eldoret, but across major towns in the country. The decision to empower the girls to take charge of their reproductive health, perhaps informed by the realization that failure to do that puts the girls on the back hill right from the onset of their lives.
If a young person cannot access some of these methods and they are sexually active, it simply means that they are exposed to engaging in unplanned sexual activities.
And these girls and even boys now know what is expected of them.
I take control of my life.
Not the boy.
And as I decide pia yeye kivyake, but mimi lazima nitadecide.
Concepted, I believe everybody should have a say in it, because when the lady becomes pregnant, mzazi atataka kujua nani aliweka hiyo mimba ndani.
Access to these services is one of the key targets of the Sustainable Development Goals under the Gender Agenda. The agenda also focuses on increasing the number of women aged between 15 and 49 years who make informed decisions regarding sexual relations, contraceptive use, and reproductive health, a factor that stakeholders say is key to not only improving the quality of life for the women targeted, but also helping break the poverty cycle that comes with unplanned families.
You see, will they struggle to look for food or basic needs, or they will struggle to go for family planning? Which one is easier?
Indeed, here in Eldoret, efforts by both governmental and non-governmental organizations are bearing fruit. The young ones are now talking openly and boldly about this matter.
Condoms are the more accessible and the easiest family planning method to use because they are cheap, they are readily available.
Zingine ni very expensive, kaizo implant.
By getting the factual information and education about their reproductive health, girls are now being accorded the same chance as the men at determining their future, and in a significant manner, the gap inequality between the girls and the boys is getting reduced. Brenda Wanga, NTV.
It is 1 year since county governments got underway with the second term of the devolution system of governance. Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wangamati is among new governors who are serving their first terms in office. NTV's Zacchaeus Mosame spent some time with Governor Wangamati and now reflects his challenging 1 year in office.
He is the second CEO of county number 39 after successfully unseating Kenneth Lusaka, the Senate Speaker, in a furious battle in the 2017 general elections. 1 year down the line, Wangamati states that his vision for Bungoma County is still very clear.
The biggest issue, Masame, that I think I did when I came into the office is just to bring some financial discipline in the system. When we had this gap of 800 million, I had to make a decision whether to remove some money from development so that I put it into recurrent expenses to be able to pay these salaries of ECD teachers, to be able to pay these salaries of doctors and nurses. We must find a way of getting the 800 million from the recurrent expenses itself. Most of the trips or most of the whatever seminars that we need to do in the county should be done within the county instead of going out.
He says despite facing opposition oftenly from the county assembly, he's ready to pay the price that will only see Bungoma County to the next economical, social and administrative level before the next 5 years.
If the leader tolerates corruption, then you'll see it going on. But if the leader does not, then you start seeing it coming down. And I think you'll see that over the next 2 or 3 years, that the level of corruption in this county will continue going down.
The governor believes strongly that by opening up thousands of kilometers of roads in the county, then part of his vision will be accomplished without strain.
Our Maram roads are in a pathetic situation, and we also recognize the fact that the procurement process takes a long way to come to fruition. So we made a decision with the CEC of roads. We made a decision that we go and hire machines from the national government, which we did, and we paid them for first phase. We paid them about 72 million Kenya shillings.
So this is actually just showing that we can actually open a road in a place that we didn't have any road before. But now with this kind of machinery, we are capable of doing that. Because our cover right now is about 30% of the road network. So you can imagine if we open them to 100%, even our own contractors will have more and more work to maintain our roads.
We have been able to open up 5 kilometers of roads in every ward, totaling to about 225 kilometers of Maram roads in every ward.
A landmark project Wangamati and his administration are proud of now is the launch of bursary and scholarship programs where 400 million was spent. It is evident that bright but needy students across the county benefited from the program.
This scholarship program that we set up benefited students in excess of about 400 students, and we'll continue building that. I expect over the next 4 years we'll have about 3,000, maybe 2,000 to 3,000 students on the scholarship programs, because we're going to be taking students on an annual basis. Very successful program. We increased our allocation towards bursary from 210 million to 400 million. And I think when you look across the country, I think we are the only county probably that has the highest amount of money allocated to the bursary.
But the greatest challenge to Wangamati and his fellow governors is the recent decision by the national government to cut their budget by close to 9 billion. He says this is a major blow to devolution success.
Sisi tunaambia rais, tafuta njia ya kukata hizi pesa kutoka kwa travel zenye mkienda sijui wapi, so that you remove this burden from the ordinary Kenyans.
I think the big four agenda is one, food security. We are very focused, and that is why we have this subsidy program. I'll be the first governor setting up an industrial park outside in Nairobi. The issue of housing, we have a program with the national government. We want to do about 2,000 houses in Bungoma in line with the National Housing Corporation. Then the last one is the universal health care. We have also a program called Indamama within the NHIF that is covering all mothers who are giving birth, and we are encouraging that.
What is the future of Bungoma County?
It has taken us so many years to be able to put up this. But when devolution came, you can see that within short time, there is a lot of change, particularly in this hospital.
It has enabled us to acquire equipment that we didn't have as a county, and we are able to perform certain operations or certain surgeries which in the past were only done at Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital and Kenyatta National Hospital.
Biggest vision for Bungoma County is, of course, economic development, economic empowerment, encourage entrepreneurship, encourage good roads, good health facilities, good water for our kids and our mothers and our grandmothers and for everyone.
Zakis Masame, NTV, Bungoma.
We are taking another short break.
But when we come back, I'll be back with the business news.
Business News in association with Safaricom Business.
Now for the business news, the government has ordered retailers across the country to sell maize flour at no more than 75 shillings for every 2 kg packet amid growing fears that the price of the staple commodity could go up with the new taxes imposed on fuel recently. Victor Kiprop was present as the minister gave the directive, which Kenyans hope will be followed even as they grapple with the increasing cost of living.
You are being exploited. That's the message of Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri to Kenyans regarding the current prices of maize flour in the market. Speaking after meeting small grain millers under the United Grain Millers Association UGMA, Kiunjuri said flour prices in the country have remained high despite a significant drop in the price of maize.
Today, the cost of 90 kg bag of maize is averaging at 1,600, which is 50% of the 2017 price. It is disappointing, surprising, and unfortunate that this benefit is not being passed to the consumers. The position of the government is that a 2 kg unga packet should not retail at more than Kenya shillings 75.
Last year, the price of maize flour rose to 150 shillings for a 2 kilogram packet due to a spike in the cost of maize occasioned by a prolonged drought. That situation compelled the government to implement a subsidy program to cushion consumers. The ministry says a 2 kilogram packet currently retails at between 82 shillings and 100 shillings in different parts of the country, way above the minimum price that was agreed with millers.
We have agreed today, as millers, without coercion by the government, though we have met with the minister, we have agreed that we shall from today sell our unga at wholesale prices for not more than 800 shillings per bale.
The move by government to offer a price cap on one of the staple diets of its citizens, if fully implemented, will offer some reprieve to consumers whose pockets are tightly squeezed as government escalates its search for additional revenue.
Amid growing anxiety over the overall impact of the newly implemented value-added tax on petroleum products on the various sectors of the economy, the Agriculture Ministry now says the prices of unga in the country should not go up by even a single cent as flour milling is zero-rated. Victor Kiprop, NTV Business.
A group of senators has come face to face with the harsh realities on the ground for farmers who toil to make a living, but for whom the lack of certain policies and cartels further up the value chain conspire to deny them a healthy living. This scenario played out as the Senate's ad hoc committee on the maize crisis, led by Professor Margaret Kamar and Moses Wetangula, held a consultative forum with farmers from the North Rift region. Lois Wangoi reports on what transpired at the Senate's public baraza with farmers.
As early as 9 a.m., farmers had gathered at Uasin Gishu's County Hall, ready for the business of the day, that of expressing their grievances to the Senate. It was a rare chance for them afforded by the Senate Mashinani initiative, in which for the very first time, senators are holding sittings outside the capital. On one side sat members of the Senate's ad hoc committee on the maize crisis, and on the other, farmers eager to vent out their frustrations. Akin to an elephant in the room, the issue of cartels controlling the maize business was bound to come up.
Nyang'au anaitwa cartel. Na mimi nataka leo msiondoke hapa mtuambie cartel. Wakulima hawa wanashuku nyinyi kwamba nyinyi ndio cartel wakubwa.
Tutashiba mianya yote. We want to stop this. That we shall not continue producing food for this country if we are not going to be taken care of. Sisi tutahama tuende kwa commercial production, tufanye diversification, kila mtu ajilishe. Alafu tuone kama hii mahindi ya Mexico itaokoa watu wakiwa na njaa.
A section of farmers present ruled out the possibility of crop diversification as a solution for tackling the perennial challenge of low revenues from farming. According to the farmers, the national government has failed to adequately finance the agriculture ministry, leaving county governments without sufficient muscle to boost agricultural output.
We cannot waste public resources to come and do a PR exercise here. We have come here because we know that there are issues affecting farmers and we want to find a lasting solution.
The farmers submitted a document to the senators containing their grievances and proposals on how to address them. The senators promised to look into the details of their report with a view to eliminate some of the barriers to the success of farming, a critical vocation which forms the backbone of the Kenyan economy.
Murkomen, Kale Trump anasaidia wakulima yao kwa kufunga na kuweka tariffs. Na sisi
From here, the Senate notes they will put in every little bit of energy to ensure the recommendations put forward by the farmers on this day are actually developed into policies which will go a long way into protecting farmers thereafter. Lace Wangoi, NTV, in the county of Uasin Gishu.
Central Bank Governor Dr. Patrick Njoroge says the imposition of value-added tax on petroleum products will cause higher inflation, but that the inflation will still be within the bank's prescribed limits. At a press briefing issued soon after the release of the Monetary Policy Committee's stance on the central bank rate, the governor also updated the public on the progress made in the investigation of banks that handle cash from the National Youth Service. Alex Mwangi reports.
Kenyans have a heavier burden to lift to see the economy through the current turbulent season, as the government seeks avenues to scale up revenue collection that have proved unpopular with many. Technocrats at the central bank have been busy crunching the numbers on the impact of the 8% imposition of VAT on petroleum products.
You have the first round effects, which is a direct transmission of the price in the CPI. And that first round effect, we calculated at about 0.4 percentage points. So you can say that now inflation last month was at 4%. So all else held constant, then you'd expect that the measured CPI would be something like 4.4.
That, however, will not be the only impact that the VAT is expected to bear down on the economy.
So we calculated the indirect effect. And this, once it seeps through the system, we expect it to be somewhere in the order of 0.6 percentage points.
According to the central bank, the combined impact of the direct and indirect effects of the increase in VAT, a cumulative 1 percentage point, will still keep inflation within the target range of between 2.5% and 7.5%. The governor gave an update on investigations into the National Youth Service scandal. 2 weeks ago, the CBK penalized Standard Chartered Bank, Equity Bank, KCB, Cooperative Bank and Diamond Trust Bank a total of 392.5 million shillings for their role in the loss of public funds.
The point is that they had until yesterday, Tuesday the 25th, all 5 banks were supposed to submit to us responses to the penalty notice. And the other thing they needed to submit by then is a time-bound action plan that is approved by their respective boards. Now, in terms of the next steps, I can confirm actually that as of yesterday, COB, all 5 banks had submitted what they had been required to do.
The central bank still remains optimistic that the economy will grow by 6.2% this year. Alex Mwangi, NTV.
And that report by Alex Mwangi brings the business news to a close.
NTV Business News in association with Safaricom Business.
Let's get your business ready for today's challenges.
Welcome back. Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. will today spend the night at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital after an incident of choking while eating in a hotel in Nandi. Senator Kilonzo is part of a Senate team that had accompanied Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei to the Nandi County Assembly, where he was giving a State of the County address.
The incident occurred after they had finished the assembly business and had gone to a hotel within the county for lunch. Mutula Jr. was first rushed to Kapsabet Hospital before he was transferred in an ambulance to the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County. Confirming the incident, the Chief Executive Officer of the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, that is Dr. Wilson Arwasa, said the senator is now in stable condition and that he will be released after treatment.
There was some foreign body in the esophagus, in the food pipe, and he was rushed into theater as an emergency to remove that foreign body. This foreign body was successfully removed. It was a piece of chicken. It was at the junction between the food pipe and the stomach. And I want to assure the public that the Honorable Senator is stable.
We decided to have a meal after the address to the County Assembly, and in the process, before we finished, the Senator felt uncomfortable and he stepped out.
We want to thank the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital and the Kapsabet Hospital for the first aid they gave and for the treatment he received here. Our colleague has been an integral part of our team, performing his duties with a lot of passion and commitment.
We take a short break on that note, but when we come back, the sports news.
TV tonight. I am Morote Kiru. A total of 14 goals were scored in the 7 Kenyan Premier League matches played Wednesday, with heavy rain in Mombasa causing a postponement. In a pick of the results, Vihiga United shocked Gor Mahia 2-0, while AFC Leopards were thrashed 4-0 by Tusker. Sean Kadovilis reports.
5-1 formation just like
AFC Leopards' quest to finish second in the Kenyan Premier League took a blow as they lost 4-0 to Tusker at the Kenyatta Stadium. The third loss in 4 league matches piles more pressure on Leopards' want-away coach Rodolfo Zapata. Ulinzi's charge for a second-place finish also faltered after falling 1-0 at the hands of Zoo FC at the Kericho Green Stadium. This as Mathare United claimed a slim 1-0 victory over 10-man Posta Rangers at the Kasarani Stadium.
After that miss of a penalty, we deserved the win because we were better, in a bigger part of the game, which is more important.
It's been a tough year financially, with no broadcast sponsor in KPL and the grants being significantly reduced.
Champions Gor Mahia lost their third match in a row, going down 2-0 to relegation battling Vihiga United. This as Wazito inched closer to the drop with a 2-1 loss to Kariobangi Sharks. In other results, Nakumat FC drew 1-1 with Nzoia Sugar and Kakamega Homeboys bagged a 1-0 win over Sony Sugar. The match between Bandari and Sofapaka at Mbaraki was rained off. So it was a morale-boosting victory for Mathare United on a day of drama, the biggest upset being the heavy loss for AFC Leopards. Sean Carter-Villas, NTV at the Kasarani Stadium.
And clearly, all is not well at Kogalo. And let's take a walk down memory lane. And Wilson Kiprugut Chumo should be a household name, but he's not. He was the first Kenyan and African to win an Olympic medal when he bagged bronze in the 880 yards, which is now the 800 meters race, at the 1964 Tokyo Olympic Games. And in a walk down memory lane, Chumo relives the race where he was elbowed by a Jamaican while leading and had to settle for third place.
Nikaanza mazoezi ya kutosa, nilitoa watu kwa kiwanja na sura chini kwa juu ya kiti kwa Tokyo. Watu nasukuma wewe, anapiga wewe kumbu, wakanipiga ilifungwa, tulikuwa pamoja na Kipchoge. Kiko wakati wanapika risasi wewe mbele. Nilikuwa mimi napenda hiyo. Hata kama naenda mimi kwa mbele. Mimi naweza step yangu. Pace. Unaona? Pace? Yeah. Mimi naweza yangu. Sasa wale napota wewe nasema wewe ndume, wewe kule kwenda.
And as Mzee Chumo relives his memories, what comes to mind is David Rudisha's iconic run during the London 2012 Olympics, and he also ran from the front to the finish to win and also make the Olympic record. And we'll be giving you that story from Mzee Chumo on Top Sport, so make sure you catch Top Sport on Saturday. And former Manchester United defender Rio Ferdinand will tour Kenya in the coming months to mentor young talents in the country as well as meet football fans. The former English international, who currently works as a TV football pundit, has signed a year-long partnership dubbed Guinness Meets Rio, and according to Kenya Breweries limited marketing manager for Guinness, Nduko wa Macau, the former England international will conduct clinics aimed at imparting coaching tips to youngsters at the grassroots. He is set to become the third football celebrity star to visit Kenya, courtesy of Guinness in recent times, following the footsteps of Frenchman Thierry Henry and Italian Roberto Di Matteo.
The conversation going on Twitter.
Reward 12 consumers with a chance a meet and greet and VIP experience with Rio Ferdinand.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people who support Manchester United who need a lot of cheering up after what happened last night. And into motorsport, and motorsport in the country has in the recent past taken quite a hit, with effects being seen in the reduced number of drivers registering for the National Rally Championship legs. But the Kenya Motorsport Federation Board is seeking to right the ship with a raft of recommendations following the board meeting. Top on the agenda is the introduction of Power Stage concept in 2019 to have fans enjoy action up close. The board also agreed to set up a committee headed by legendary rally driver Azar Anwar to look into cheaper car class in order to promote motorsport in the grassroots level and make it more appealing to ordinary Kenyans. The introduction of the new KMSF appeals court was also approved to look into competitors' grievances.
the 2019 Kenya National Rally Championship has been re-engineered to become spectator friendly. Make sure that every event has a dedicated spectator stage. What we mean by a dedicated spectator stage is a stage where spectators are able to access.
And we do hope that motorsport actually does get its shape right. And also remember that Kenya is bidding to host the WRC leg, that is the Safari Rally, into the WRC. And now let's get entertained. And 7-year-old Malaya Emma delivered a breathtaking rendition of the US national anthem before LA Galaxy game in the Major League Soccer. After the 3-0 win for LA Galaxy, striker Zlatan Ibrahimovic tweeted, quote, MVP of the game. And if you know Ibrahimovic, you know that's very, very high praise. Let's listen to a snippet of Malaya.
I was actually hoping Orode would just wind up, drop the mic, do something, sing Orode. Can you do?
Well, Orode, in answer to your question, I cannot sing like that. My singing is restricted to the bathroom.
Well, I can sing. Baritone.
Baritone.
Yeah, okay. Just drop me any song. I'll just try to sing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I sing everywhere. The toilet, in the bathroom.
Well,
let's call it a wrap.
Yeah, let's just end the news.
My name is Dennis Okari.
Mine is Burrows, and our sign language interpreter has been Flora Otieno.